Hello, everybody. This is Alex Tomaszewska. I am your online confidence coach, and today I have the pleasure and honor of interviewing Sally Marshall, present here with us. Sally is a strategy and implementation coach, publisher, speaker, author of Delegate to Elevate and Know Your Numbers, and she's working with businesses to create a plan for their success. And today, Sally is going to tell us how and why she started her own magazine, and then she's going to business magazine, and then she's going to share a couple of tips, do's and don'ts, as you call them, when starting your own magazine at the end of the interview. Sally, thank you very much for taking the time to meet with me today.
No, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So, of course, we're in different places, not only because of the coronavirus, but because this is the way I do my interviews. Although to some of my viewers, I recently moved to London, so actually any interviews in England might finally, if you've been watching me, I was always wondering whether there's going to be somebody on the couch actually next to me, and maybe that's going to come one day, not just yet, but I have space on my couch.
It will come.
Yes, it's a different couch now. It's a different couch, but that's always in my mind. So Sally, tell us. I would like to tell us a little bit about you. So, in your previous life, before the magazine,
Yes.
who was Sally in her previous life?
Okay, well, I used to work in the House of Commons doing strategy, planning, and performance. I never imagined anything outside of that, really. And then a few years ago, I took early retirement, switched off, not really realising the skill set that I've got. Although I do remember somebody years ago saying, "You've got transferable skills, please don't transfer them." I think at the time he imagined I might transfer them to another company rather than to my own business. But what's actually happened is I've realised that I've got skills which are useful to businesses. So working in the House of Commons, I designed a balanced scorecard, which is what the second book is about, knowing the performance in your business, what's happening with it. And the first book is basically the strategy of a business plan. So the House of Commons has a business plan the same as an ordinary business would have. And I worked on the business plan for one of the departments, the annual review, managed the budget, did all the things that you would normally do within a business.
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody said to me, "You've got all this knowledge and experience, why don't you use it?" the penny dropped that actually my skills were as valuable to a business as they were to Parliament. So that's how it all began. And then somebody said to me, "If you want to be a key person of influence, you need to write a book," at which I was absolutely horrified and said, "People like me don't write books." Well, actually they do. Anybody can write a book. Mine are self-published on Amazon, and it's a very simple process. And if you know your stuff, you can write a book. So, you know, they're not huge, great tomes to work through. They're easy reading, just basic, simple, common sense things really that you need to think about when you're running a business. And then from there, working with clients, I realised that none of us know everything. I know there's one or two people that will tell you that they do, but actually they don't. And you need to learn and develop as you're running a business, not just do what you do day after day, because, well, particularly in the current environment we're in, those people that are going to succeed are the ones who are thinking outside the box, thinking of a different way of doing things, you know, working on their business, looking at the technology, how things are going to change when everything gets back to some sort of normal.
Yeah, you definitely need to have an open mind. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think so, and to be open to opportunities, and that's really sort of what's happened. My business has evolved by being open to the opportunities, by building my network, just talking to anyone and everyone. And then I had a crazy idea to Well, I thought it was going to be a glorified newsletter to share information and help promote each other, which is basically what we all need, because most of us are technicians. We're good at what we do, but we don't have the business skills.
Oh my God, yes, yes, yes. This is the Achilles heel of so many business people. I know my beginnings were so hard because I just wanted to do it. We all just want to do whatever lies in our zone of genius. And then when it comes to
Yes.
marketing and selling, you're like, oh, I don't want to do that. And you realize
No.
out of the corporate environment, without an employer, this is non-optional. It's totally non-optional.
Well, exactly, and that's how we all start, and you can get overwhelmed very quickly by that, because you suddenly realise that the only person to do everything is you. There is no one else. There's no IT department or HR department or office manager. There's none of that. Well, there is, but it's got your name against every task, and every job title belongs to you. So the crazy idea for the magazine sort of started, and if I'm honest, it did start off as a bit of a glorified newsletter, as a PDF, and it's evolved. It's now a glossy magazine, and it goes. It's distributed on the internet as well through my social media. So my social media has grown as I've built my network. But again, somebody said to me, "Oh, you need to be on LinkedIn, and you need to do this and that," and I had like 50 connections. People mostly that I worked with, or one or two that I know from school. Now my LinkedIn connections are just under 10,000. They're about 20 off 10,000, I think. But that's because, well, I know, but I connect with everybody because you don't know who they know.
Of course.
And then that's what helps with the distribution of the magazine. So, one of the things is to just grow your network, and you should grow your network before you need it. So with all this downtime that people have got, actually building your network online is a great way to spend your time. So, have a look at your LinkedIn or where your customers are. So if you're looking for business customers, they're probably on LinkedIn. I've got a big following on Twitter as well. I've got about 22,000 followers on Twitter. I don't know them all, but a percentage of those will be following my posts and interact. Facebook too. So although they say Facebook is more social, actually again, you don't know what people do or who they know. So I maintain that presence on Facebook, and I have a Facebook group which is building quite a nice community. But it's also a good way of chatting to people. So you and I have been chatting on Facebook Messenger.
Yes.
Because, most people are connected to Facebook or LinkedIn on their phone if they're not in front of the laptop. So it's quite a good way just to keep up the communication. And if you post, quite often you get a lot of engagement. Or if you don't get the engagement, people quite often know what you've done because they follow you. They don't comment or like or share or anything, but they know what you're doing. So when we're allowed to go out and about again, quite often when I go out, people come and talk to me because they know me from my social media.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Sometimes it's slightly embarrassing, and I think, oh, I don't know who this is. And occasionally I say, I'm really sorry, but have we met before? And sometimes they say, oh, no, well, I've just seen you on social media, or I've been following you, or because actually people buy from those they know, like, and trust. And if they follow you on social media, they get to know what you do, they get to know a bit about you, and they get a feeling as to whether they like you or not. If they don't, they're never going to become a client or a customer. But if they do, then they might just strike up that conversation with you and ask you a bit more, which is basically what we did. We met on social media, and we've had a message call, and we've had a Zoom call, and now we're doing this together. So you get a feeling about people. There's hundreds and thousands of confidence coaches, the same as there are business coaches. So why would they pick you, or why would they pick me? well, if they resonate with your story and they like you as a person and your values and, you know, what you're doing, then they're more likely to engage. So, you know, if you just sit back and be invisible, then people forget who you are. If you do things like this, and I do normally in normal times, I do a few speaking engagements, which again it's taken me time to build my confidence to be able to do that. But now I speak in front of quite a big audience, and they always want to come up and talk to you. They want to connect with you. They want to ask me about my magazine. They buy my books, and some of them become clients. So the more you're out there, the more visible you are, the more you do this sort of thing, the better it is. You know, I've quite often when I speak, I tell a bit of my story, and if people resonate with that, you know, I have had the one or two in tears before now because it's touched a nerve somewhere. I don't necessarily understand why, but you know, if I can do it from having a bit of a crisis of confidence and built up to where I've got to, then other people can do it, and it gives them inspiration and motivation to do something. And it's just lots of small steps, and so that's how the magazines happened, that's how the books have happened, that's how the speaking has happened, the confidence to do this. It's just lots of little steps, really. They get you a bit closer to where you want to be.
So I hear a few things. First of all, in order to grow your following, you need to be out there. That's a given. You can't stay in the shadows, and you need to show people who you truly are so that they can resonate with your values. Without it, they will never trust you. If they have different values, you need to tell them your story, because that's inspiration for them. You need to keep showing up and constantly keep growing your network, which is basically something that I think that who's not even in business, they could do that, because you never know when you're going to be in business or need help or be able to help somebody. Oh, and that reminds me of a case from my work. There was this this guy at work. I think he was 28, my colleague, and he was running marathons, triathlons, actually doing the triathlons. Very sporty, one of the best at what he was doing as well. You know, very kind, etc. Handsome, and he had the full package basically. And one day when I was not working there anymore, I saw a post on Facebook of somebody from work as well, saying that they're collecting money for this guy. And there's a portal for collecting money for people with some sort of disabilities or after accidents. And there was a photo before the accident and after the accident. So, and I thought it was a joke, a very cruel joke, because I couldn't even recognize him. And it turned out an ambulance hit him on the road. And so they were collecting. He went completely numb, I think. Couldn't move, couldn't eat, couldn't speak. He's still recovering, and he's got a lot of work ahead of him. But they started collecting money for his rehabilitation, and it was a big amount. It was, especially in Poland, it was 80,000 pounds, I think. So that's a lot of money. Yes. And normally, you know, in these portals, you see much smaller numbers, and they have trouble collecting them. That amount of money was collected in 2 weeks. I was literally just sitting, refreshing the page, and anytime I refreshed the page, there was some amount of money, from somebody's network just made just like that. And so I think that's the best evidence that when you have a network, you want to grow your network basically, and you want to have your values, have integrity, show up as who you are, because you never know what's gonna happen.
Exactly, and you just never know who you need around you, and we can all support each other. So, you know, I think the crisis has brought all that together, that actually you have a trusted group of people around you who all support you. So I had an email this morning from somebody that I know and I've had coffee with, but she's got a project and she wants to talk to me. So at the moment, everybody's in a panic mode and they've gone very quiet and they don't want to spend any money. Whereas she's got the foresight to be planning what she wants to do, and she wants to talk about business coaching and how much I charge and all that sort of thing. But most people are not having that conversation.
Yeah.
But because we've met and she knows my story, you know, there's that know, like, and trust. So it's me that she's come to. So they don't come to you straight away necessarily. They come when they're ready, when the time is right.
Yes.
Yes. So it's just a matter of keep building that, and then you just never know. So we had a conversation a bit earlier. Somebody connected me to somebody in Australia, and we were introduced via LinkedIn. And he messaged in a group message and said it would be good to have a chat. So with the time difference, that was slightly interesting to organise. So it was breakfast time for me and evening time for him. So I was drinking tea and he was drinking G&T, I think, because he'd had a bad day. It was when all this started and he'd lost a couple of contracts because of it.
Yeah.
But actually, we had an amazing conversation, and he was planning to come to the UK to meet me and several other people as well, and talking about me going back to Australia. And he seems to have got plans. And he emailed me again yesterday about something else. So we've sort of built up that relationship just from an introduction through LinkedIn, which I would never have been able to do on my own. And he works with some very big companies, some blue chip companies, which again, I wouldn't have access to on my own, but through him,
Yes.
that opportunity is there. And he wants to share the magazine to his contacts, which are quite high level, not just in Australia, but in Asia and the States as well as the UK. So all of a sudden, my network is opening up, and me and my brands are getting out there on a much bigger scale.
Just
that
because
came
one person.
Connection on LinkedIn.
Yeah. And I think that's also what we can learn from the coronavirus. It's enough that one person goes to a country to get the disease to the whole country.
Yes.
But you can learn from that to your own benefit and make it into an opportunity. Okay, it's also enough if I know this one person, and a lot of success stories, they start just like that, and you just need to meet the right person. But unless you go out there, unless you keep talking to people and keep being you, have the courage, have your confidence, have your values, there's a chance that's not gonna happen. And the two of us, we spoke about similar stories. We both built our confidence from a very, very low point, like toxic relationships and all of that. So we are both examples that you can build up. It's
Definitely.
absolutely possible for anybody.
That's
beautiful.
We can do it, and other people can do it too. But it is about having the right people around you, finding those people who support you, and just sometimes just say, you know, well done, or yes, you can do this, or I believe in you. And sometimes that's all you need, just those people that just believe in your ability to do something. And actually, when you do it, you know, it's not that long ago I was really nervous of doing things like this in interviews, and I was very proud of myself. I did a podcast for somebody, which is just audio, no video. And then somebody said to me, well, we can do that, but if you put the video on as well, you can have like a TV chat show, which is what I did. So I've interviewed a few people on it looks like it's set up like a studio, so it looks like a TV chat show, which are on my YouTube. But again, once you've done it once, you think, oh, actually, I can do this. So having somebody on your couch next to you and doing that TV style interview is not impossible. It is at the moment, but once it all calms down, you know, you could find yourself in a studio type environment and have a TV chat show.
Absolutely, faster than you thought. Like, I never planned to come to London. I just met my man, and just a few months ago, and here I am. So you never know what's gonna happen. Okay, so maybe just to wrap up, this went nicely into connecting with people and networking, just unexpectedly. I love that. what are the do's and don'ts when you're running a magazine? Maybe you could share something that you considered I don't want to use the word failure because I don't believe there are failures, but something that you know now that you wouldn't do when you were starting your magazine, something that doesn't really work.
I think you're right. There aren't failures. It's a learning curve, and as long as you learn from it, then you just go from there. So in the beginning, you have to build the credibility. So you do need that visibility. You need that network. So at the beginning, it is quite tough, but I just asked everyone I knew to write articles for the magazine and put them all together.
Mm.
So I sort of just project managed it to start with.
Mm.
So you can do that even on just a small scale. You know, that's how, you know, just a local newsletter magazine starts. It's just having an idea. So for me, it was about sharing information in the business community. So whatever your subject is, you know, what is useful to your audience, what would help them, because not only does it help your audience and become a resource, it helps the visibility of the person who's writing the article.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then in time, as you get that credibility and it grows, then you can start charging, maybe not a lot, but you can start charging for just small adverts. And again, as it builds and the credibility and everything, then you can put those prices up. But everyone has to start from somewhere. So, you know, don't think it's going to make you a fortune overnight, because it's not. It takes time and effort.
Right.
But it links in with that networking, because, you know, it's like writing a book. You become an expert overnight because you've written a book. And so having the magazine gets you into all sorts of places. So I got an interview with, God, my name's gone. The name's gone. There's the doctor, Dr. Hillary. I got to interview him at a local business show where he was speaking, because I had a press pass, because I have a magazine. So a magazine is actually a really powerful tool, because not many people do it. So it makes you stand apart from your competition. So however small you start, just do it. Even if it's only a few pages, you know, it's a start, and it will make you stand out, and you become an expert, a go-to person, which is what you want.
Yes, and also being a hub, being known as a hub. That's what I'm also working right now, being a hub for online-based businesses. That's great for growing your network very quickly, because it's easier to meet other people who actually have networks already. That's very interesting.
So it's a very powerful tool to have, and just think about what would benefit your clients, and then just draw people in from that.
Right. So the client comes first, as in any business, and it should be aligned with your main business. So you would have your main business, which is coaching. Then you have your client. What will be of benefit for them? A magazine, and you start from there, gathering experts and other people who can provide this information. That's why we're having this interview here today. For example, my magazine is online, is on YouTube.
Exactly, and it all integrates. So although I have several different businesses, they all link together, so they all support my clients in one way or another. So whether it's, you know, increasing their visibility, their marketing, showcasing their expertise, you know, working with me, it's all part of the same support network.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And when you have your own network, of course, you can just, if you need to, you could just market whatever you want to. So if you're introducing a new product, for example, or a new business, you already have your group of people that will be interested in that. And that's a huge leverage, but that takes time. No arrogance.
No, I mean, you don't have to be arrogant about it, but they are warm leads. You're right. They're not cold leads. They're warm leads.
Yes,
and
exactly.
they're people that have bought into you already.
Yes, and they already know and like and trust you.
Yes, exactly.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Sally. This was great. I want to wish you all the best, and we're going to stay in touch. And to
Yes.
all the guys that watched, guys and girls, or girls and guys actually, that in that order, thank you so much for staying with us, and stay tuned for my next interview, and show us some love if you like this, and share. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.